Hi, it's Lee and welcome to the Tesla Economist. Why is the stock price down so much? Over 10% or even 13% from its high the other day, around $40. This is a huge drop, like we haven't experienced for some time. Tesla beat earnings. Shouldn't the stock price be up? Well, let's explore why that may not be the case. Firstly, most of us expected this. I even literally said the stock price would run up before earnings and then would most likely drop after earnings, as it always does. Usually, no matter how good the report tends to be. This is just the typical pattern we most often see. Buy the rumour, sell the news, and take some profits. On top of that, we've just experienced an insane run on the stock price of recent. Many investors, particularly bears, have been expecting a pullback for some time, yet it didn't happen and kept running to just about 300. I did say it could very likely hit 300, and okay, sure, it was just over $299, but pretty much got there. However, the earnings call didn't provide enough substance to take it over, as the short-term news wasn't looking too positive to Wall Street. What Wall Street heard was the fact that Q3 is not going to be a very good quarter. Why? Because we're going to be experiencing some major shutdowns. Elon didn't go into too many specifics about it. He said it would be international, but didn't say it would be all factories. He also said it would be battery upgrades. Anyone here can speculate as much as they want as to what this means. As Elon did specifically mention batteries, I think there's a chance that it may be that Tesla are upgrading to CATL's new batteries. This would be to replace the existing LFP batteries, which would mean Shanghai, Fremont, and potentially Berlin, which would also mean an international shutdown. Whether this also means the vehicle shutdown is a little unclear, but somewhat inferred by most. However, would this be just for Model 3 lines and an upgrade to Highland? Well, hopefully. The Tesla community seems to be split between the Highland being a ghost and then it obviously being real due to all the leaked photos we've seen. However, I would say about 75% of the community is on Team Highland and seem very positive it will be a thing. Now, if Tesla are going to be doing line upgrades, then I think if there is a Highland update, we can all agree that the obvious time to do this would be during the downtime. There's also the potential this upgrade may even go as far as castings, maybe even front and rear, as the new CATL battery is actually structural. Yes, the Highland potential is very exciting. With the downtime too, it is likely that Tesla will exhaust almost all the Model 3 inventory by the time it launches, so there shouldn't be any Osborne effect. This is pretty clever if they've juggled inventory that well. I mean, it's not that hard to think of and makes perfect sense, so why wouldn't they do that? Now, this is perhaps reaching a bit, but if all the factories are down and they're upgrading all of them and all the batteries, then perhaps even we could see the Model Y Juniper update? There is a chance that this new CATL factory has 80 gigawatt hour capacity. That is a lot of cells and can likely mean there is enough cells for the Model Y and Model 3. But wait, this was supposed to be bad news, according to Wall Street. Yet for the Tesla bulls, they see factory upgrades as good news. And even if it is not a Highland update, then it should be something that makes the process more efficient and reduces costs. But fingers crossed for Highland. Like I said though, we don't know how long the lines may be down or how much production we might lose. At a guess, perhaps a month. And as we don't know if it's all factories, then perhaps a rough guess of 100,000 fewer vehicles produced. So maybe around 350,000 for Q3, if I really had to guess. Tesla has a surplus of around 90,000 vehicles, which is the total difference between vehicles produced and delivered over the last 4 quarters. And some of them are in transit, but most aren't. This is only enough vehicles to cover a couple of weeks though, so it's not a major buffer. Therefore, it might be hard for Tesla to push more than 400,000 deliveries this quarter. Then with these upgrades, hopefully the lines are faster and more efficient, and there is a backlog of orders due to the downtime, and Q4 is always the most popular quarter for auto sales, and more demand due to a Model 3 refresh, and potentially a few Cybertrucks. So Q4 should be a record quarter. I want to even guess as high as 500,000, which will take us close to that 1.8 million target. We can all forget the 2 million target now though, because of this downtime, although I have been saying that was unlikely anyway. There are also more concerns of further price drops. Elon saying it is all to do with interest rates. When rates are higher, vehicles cost more to buy, as there's more interest to pay. Therefore, demand goes down when prices rise. This is very basic economics. There is a chance we see another 0.25% rise in rates still, which will mean Tesla's prices will drop slightly more, of course just in the US. Each market is relative to their own rates. However, it might mean the dollar strengthens more, and we know that Tesla's profits are also suffering somewhat from the foreign exchange rates. Remember, these are high rates now and will eventually come down over time if we keep seeing good results with disinflation. And when rates lower, cars become more affordable and demand increases, and Tesla will obviously raise their prices again, and the margins and profits will return. This is somewhat inevitable, of course, depending on black swan events or anything else. Economic uncertainty also reduces demand as consumers decide to delay more expensive purchases. Yet we still had record sales in Q2, and Elon saying the Model Y was the best-selling car in Q2 globally, which is a very impressive feat given how much more it costs than a Toyota Corolla. But given the fact there may be price drops, then the market really hates that. Some people think the stock might drop down to 220 or something now, and it might be a great buying opportunity if it does. I think that might be a bit of a stretch. I think it will slowly start to rise over the next week or two as we get geared up for the Cybertruck launch and start to hear more positive things come from Tesla. The sentiment has changed a little in the market, but remember just how fickle it can be. I think this will be temporary. Tesla will announce something soon, and it will remind everyone again what a company this is becoming and how we are in the early stages. Perhaps Mexico breaking ground. I don't think there'll be anything announced about a Highland until the current Model 3 inventory is exhausted, as it would mean consumers would delay their purchase until the new version. I really hope we see this new Model 3 with the new batteries, as it will give us an idea as to where the current technology is with EVs, in cells, batteries, and drivetrain efficiencies. It's rumoured to have a 66 kilowatt-hour battery, compared to the current 60 kilowatt-hour. This is also a structural pack, and might have front and rear castings, so could see a range close to 300 miles for the rear-wheel drive version. This would be great to see and show the market that the EV industry, or Tesla mainly, is still improving in efficiency and range. It often doesn't take much for the market to FOMO back into Tesla and get reminded of the great potential the company has. We even have Elon still thinking that FSD will be safer than a human this year, and he sounds convincing again, but it's hard to believe him on that these days. But maybe we'll see some massive progress at least that will make people sit up and think, wow, Tesla really are the leaders in AI and going to actually solve FSD one day. And maybe this mystery OEM might come forward and say they are adopting Tesla FSD soon, which would probably make the stock jump 10% on that news alone, given how positive it reacted just from the charging network being opened up. There is a lot more profit in OEMs selling Tesla FSD than there is them using the charging network, and it also further validates to the market that Tesla is truly that much further ahead than anyone when it comes to FSD. Anyway, there was nothing really too much to worry about with this latest price drop in the stock price, at least not long term, and there's plenty of potential catalysts around the corner to send it right back again. It tested 300 and failed, but it's likely not finished testing. On a personal note, I'm going on holiday for a couple of weeks, so may not be able to record so much, but will do my best to report anything exciting that comes up in the meantime. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.